Hello and welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Aaron Porras, and coming up in today's newscast, Foreign Minister Yair Lapid landing in the United Arab Emirates for the first official visit to the Gulf state by a top Israeli official. Meanwhile, the world still ignoring terror group Hamas's recruitment of child soldiers. And finally, a ridiculous heat wave crawling across the region. Stay tuned for the best tips on how to not melt in the sun. A truly great cause to celebrate. Israeli Foreign Minister and alternate Prime Minister Yair Lapid landing in the United Arab Emirates early Tuesday morning for the first official visit to the Gulf state by a top Israeli minister. And this just shy of a year since the two nations first announced plans to normalize their ties as part of the Abraham Accords. Meanwhile, this also comes just after Lapid meeting with Bahrain's Foreign Minister Abdulatif Al-Zayani, where the two discussed several regional concerns. At any rate, during his 48-hour visit to the Emirates, Lapid will have no time to rest. He'll be hosted by his counterpart, Emirati Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Minister Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and he'll visit the Israeli pavilion at the Dubai Expo 2020 trade fair, the World Fair having been postponed from October 2020 to October 2021. And Lapid will also present at the inauguration of the Israeli embassy and consulate in the cities of Abu Dhabi and Dubai, respectively. Now, as Foreign Minister Yair Lapid is making his historic stop in the United Arab Emirates, Israeli President Rivlin is touring through America, and he's meeting with top legislative and congressional officials on the way. Israeli President Rivlin landing in Washington, D.C. this morning ahead of a historic itinerary. Rivlin now in the United States for his very last official visit as acting president, his term coming to an end July 9. And during the tour, Rivlin meeting with United States President Biden, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and senior congressional leaders, after which he's scheduled to return to New York for meetings at the UN headquarters. As for what was discussed, Rivlin and his American hosts reiterating their nation's shared values and commitments to good relations regardless of disagreements. But they reportedly especially focused on the Israel-Hamas war last month and Middle East concerns over the United States' re-entry into the Iran nuclear deal.
We're committed to unwavering commitment to self-defense, and today we're going to be discussing a broad range of challenges, including Iran. What I can say to you, Iran will never get a nuclear weapon on my watch, as they say.
Israel have no greater friend, ally, than the United States of America. And because of that, of course, we, according to a real friendship, can from time to time discuss matters and even agree not to agree about everything. But we count on you, and your really declaration just now really brought the Israelis to understand that we have a great friend at the White House.
But all along, we had had a great friendship. The support for Israel in this Congress has always been strongly bipartisan, as you wish, and it will continue to be so because of our shared values and because of our mutual security concerns.
We are partners. We are parties, dear Speaker. We are friends, our nations bound together. Friends may have disagreements from time to time. This will never endanger our close relationship.
Surprise, surprise, the United Nations Security Council releasing a new report on Monday accusing Israel of hundreds of grave violations in 2020 against Palestinian children, including allegedly, quote, maiming some 324 kids and attacking over 24 schools, at least one of which was confirmed by the UN as being used for military purposes. Meanwhile, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres likewise condemning the abuse of children in armed conflict. But neither the report nor other UN official statements address one of the region's most heinous and ongoing abuses of children in armed conflict. And that is, of course, Palestinian terror group Hamas's recruitment of child soldiers via their ongoing so-called summer camps. Joining me to discuss is media analyst with Honest Reporting, Emmanuel Miller.
Thank you very much.
Emmanuel, thank you so much for being here. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, first of all, what can you tell us about these camps? Who do they target for recruitment specifically in terms of children or otherwise? And how many campers are there?
Well, in terms of the numbers, we know that according to the Jerusalem Post correspondent, we have 50,000 who have signed up.
Just this year?
Just this year. So we have an astonishing number of kids who turned up. I've got the name, the Sword of Al-Quds battle. It's been named after the recent battle.
The Sword of Jerusalem, yeah.
Well, that is the Sword of Al-Jerusalem is the name of the battle, as Hamas called it, the war that was recently took place against Israel. So it's very clearly a military training camp. This isn't your average summer camp.
No, and we're seeing visuals on screen here. Not your average summer camp.
Not at all. And we also see the outcome, because in recent coverage, we know just last month there was this horrific New York Times front page cover of all the children.
The child victims.
The child victims. And it came out afterwards that at least one of them was affiliated with Hamas, and you can see him in images of him holding rifles and RPGs. So clearly this is a fast track to serving in a terrorist unit.
All right, so how often, because I know that I myself have mentioned that these are long ongoing, and we've seen clips of these summer camps going for at least 5-10 years. How often do these camps run?
They run every single summer. This is totally routine. I would say this is allowed to continue as long as there isn't any public pressure against it. And there's not going to be any public pressure against this kind of thing until there's media coverage. And unfortunately, the media just doesn't take an interest in this. And it's a clear contravention of international law. And unfortunately, we have media coverage of suspected or insinuated Israeli war crimes when none actually exist. And this is a definite war crime. And yet media coverage is scant, if non-existent. So it's absolutely vital that the media get on this.
Why do you think that they're ignoring this? I mean, it's a pretty hot topic, I would say.
So we saw just last month a major UN official in Gaza was ejected effectively for confirming the Israeli narrative.
The accuracy of the strikes.
Yes, and we understand already that for many years that journalists are kept on a tight leash in Gaza, and that anything by Hamas, and they cannot say what they really observe. They have footage in the cameras destroyed if it's too damning for Hamas, for its public image. So they are aware of the fact that they have to toe a very tight, a very specific line. And if they give too much away, then Hamas won't allow them back in.
Well, even given that, I mean, they must not be too worried about it, given the fact that we have that footage to begin with. They seem to be using it as somewhat of an advertisement. Mm-hmm. In any case, Emmanuel, thank you so much for being with us and sharing on this.
Thank you.
In other news, a controversial compromise now reached between the Israeli government and residents of the illegal West Bank outpost of Eviatar. The outpost's residents agreeing to vacate, and the coalition in turn agreeing not to demolish the present structures and to instead immediately build a new yeshiva. And in the meantime, the IDF will use the site as a makeshift military base, and the government will meet to reconsider the outpost's legal status, meaning that in the near future, the settlement of Eviatar may be legitimized. Of course, not everyone is very pleased about the so-called compromise, and here to discuss is political commentator Tami Morad Hayo and Jeremy Salton, political strategist and director of English operations for Prime Minister Bennett's Yamina party. Thank you both so much for being with us. Tami, I'm going to begin with you. I know that residents of Eviatar overwhelmingly agreed to this measure, as did Defense Minister Gantz and Prime Minister Bennett and several other top officials. What do you think?
I think it's outrageous. Of course, they agreed. There is no compromise here. At the end of the day, this illegal settlement is staying in its place, and the Israeli government is actually giving it an okay to go stamp, which is unbelievable. It's the same government, by the way, the same politicians who are always complaining about how they cannot govern because nobody listens to the law, and it's always about the courts. Well, there is a law, and even if you are a Jewish settler and a religious Jewish settler, you should follow the law.
Jeremy, very similarly, Joint List Knesset member Aida Thomas Sliman says that the deal legitimizes settler crimes. You disagree?
Well, I disagree because I don't think that it's a crime to settle in Judea and Samaria. Look, we're in a situation in which we inherited a very unique situation, unlike other usual situations we see when it comes to outposts. We're talking, of course, about a situation here in Evyatar where Netanyahu actually evacuated the settlement twice before, even forcefully. And he decided on purpose in this case to stop from what the president's was before that, which was to remove any outpost that comes up within the first night or maximum within 48 hours, and just let this become a situation where you would have what we have now, which is practically over 1,000 settlers that are right now living in Evyatar, and just go ahead and leave that for the Bennett government to try to clean up, if you will, and put us in a situation where either on one side we end up disappointing some of our coalition partners, such as the people within Mansour Abbas's party, or various aspects, of course, within the opposition, such as the Joint List MK that you mentioned there at the outset, or various NGO activists, such as, of course, Tommy. But we have a situation where we have to go ahead and act responsibly. I think it's something that most people can understand, that the last thing that we want to go ahead and see is a repeat of previous situations where you had large numbers of settlers living in an area, and the sight of horses and people going around with baseball bats, and situations where even MKs who have, of course, parliamentary immunity ending up in very unfortunate situations. So, when you have lemons, you make lemonade. Everything that was agreed upon is something that was done through law. I can tell you that everything has been checked. There are a few loose ends that we're still dealing with, of course, but this is something that everyone feels comfortable with, including Defense Minister Gantz, who, of course, is not exactly the champion for the settlement enterprise.
All right, well, Tommy, I want to give you a moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, no,
It's not about settlers, Judea and Samaria. It's not about Palestinians. It's about the rule of law. In Israel, it seems like the rule of law works only when it's convenient. And whomever is in power, if it works for them, then okay, there are laws and there's a law and order. And if not, not. Well, it's not allowed to build against the law. It's not allowed to build a settlement against the law, whether it's in Judea and Samaria, whether it's in Tel Aviv, it doesn't really matter. On top of all of that, there's also the question of Palestinians, the private lands, the statute of international law and the rest of it. But that's not really the question here, Jeremy. The question is whether or not this government is going to follow the Israeli law, which, there are members of
This
Knesset.
government is.
This is the law. The law says that if you want to build a settlement,
I'm sorry,
you have to
Tammy.
do it according to the law.
Does this decision give tacit
question.
approval? Does this decision, in your opinion, give tacit approval to others to follow Evyatar's suit and to build illegally in lands that they argue is available?
Of course it does. It means that you can do whatever you want and then you negotiate with the government. It can't work this way. It can't work in Judea, Samaria. It can't work in Tel Aviv. It can't work in Haifa. It can't work anywhere. Either we have laws or we don't have law. You can't do whatever you want just because you believe you're right.
Jeremy,
if you're right, well, the settlers, they have Naftali Bennett as prime minister now. Well, go for it. Pass a law. But as long as it is a settlement against the law, they should all leave yesterday.
All right, Jeremy, final comment.
I can tell you after speaking with, sure. Yesterday, I was briefed by the Prime Minister, the Interior Minister, and a lot of the other government officials that are dealing with this very sensitive issue. Everything that we are doing here is based and rooted in law. Anything we do will hold up within any Israeli court. And that is really a situation that needs to be understood. And if Tommy wants to talk about illegal settlement, we can talk about the illegal building of course, the Palestinians throughout Area C, and the fact that we haven't exactly seen our government go ahead and rush to go ahead and evacuate those people either. I think there's an understanding that there are Jews living in Judea and Samaria, there are Arabs living in Judea and Samaria, and trying to go ahead and expect to have a different type of treatment is not something that is going to work out. And if you want, we can just go ahead and just knock everything down, Tammy. And then, of course, if we do that, I'm sure you're well aware also within Tel Aviv, the amount of illegal buildings that there are, we'll spend quite a few weeks just going through the entire country. We have an issue when it comes to the planning and building laws with the regulation laws. This is not a new story. And unfortunately, you do have situations where you have to regulate things after the fact. Right. And it's I think
we have a headline here, Aaron. We have a headline.
That it's difficult to expect that there's a difference between taking down 5 tents overnight and going ahead and forcefully evacuating 1,000 people. Right. And if you want to go ahead and live in a reality in which everything is simple, so that's fine for you. But what it comes down to is the government has to look at the actual situation that's on the ground and the reality. And you can thank the outgoing government for deciding to throw this hot potato to us.
Well,
I know that you weren't a big fan of that government.
A very big headline saying that this government will work according to what is
convenient. We have to make the tough decision, and everything we're doing is according to law.
All right, Jeremy Salton with the Yamina Party, Tami Mulad Hayo, thank you both so much for your insights.
Thank you.
Now moving on, ILTV's Emmanuel Kadosh returning with SR Cosmetics and their latest and greatest line in skincare products.
Hi everyone, welcome back. We are here to talk about SR Cosmetics' most recent line, which is the Evercure line, which is inspired by the Amazons. We have here 3 products that we are going to get into details about and show you what they look like and what they feel like on my skin. The first one here is an eye cream. We also have a retinol serum and then a scar curing cream that you are using with the micro needle system. So let's get started.
Actually, what the scar cure does, it just flattens out and even out all the texture of your skin and peels away the excess scar tissue. So this retinol is capsulated, so your skin gets exactly what it needs in each and every area. The thing you're going to put around your eyes, the eye cure, and this is amazing because it reduces puffiness in a minute and it relaxes the skin and the body. It's really, really nice.
And now for more on the Evercure line by SR Cosmetics, the one and only Emmanuel Kadosh takes it away.
Thank you, Aaron. I am joined once again by Galia from SR Cosmetics. How are you?
Hi, always a pleasure being here with you.
It's always a pleasure to have you here. We are talking about the SR Cosmetics Evercure line. Tell me a little bit about it. I see the products are already here, ready to be spoken about.
Yeah, the products, and of course they are green because in this line we're going to take you far away to South America, to the forest of the Amazon. And you know, the Amazon area is considered to be like the nature field for cures. This is the reason that we chose the name Evercure, because it's an evergreen forest and the cure is forever good for your skin.
I have personally tried these products and let me tell you, they were a game changer, like unbelievable. The scar cream, the eye cream, which was unbelievable. It literally took away all of my puffiness on my face.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I want you kind of to tell us a little bit about each product.
So the first one that we'll talk about is the one that you tried already.
Yes.
The anti-puffiness and the anti-aging eye cream.
Unbelievable.
Okay? It's called Evercure Eye Cure. And you know, the eye area is 10 times thinner than any other area in your body in terms of our skin. This is why we have to take special care of it. So this formula is presented to you especially for puffiness and then dark circles.
A lot of people get, you know, maybe after a night of drinking or if they're a little bit tired, you wake up and your face feels a little puffy. Like this is the Evercure eye cream. I want to hear you kind of go into details about this scar cream because this changed a lot for me. You know, there's a lot of people that whether it's acne scars or maybe what we were talking about before, maybe surgical scars that you make you a little bit insecure. And I could tell you, you know, I had acne when I was younger and scars, pigmentations, whatever it is. This cream changed things.
Yeah, it is a game changer.
Yeah.
First of all, take notice that all this line is really hygienic because it's airless. You use it day and night daily to get the effect and the results that you want. And
yeah, because this is the hottest thing right now. You see this all over from a bunch of different companies, but I know that this really helps the scar cream penetrate through your skin a little bit better and allows the product to kind of absorb into your skin. So tell me about this.
So you take the derma roller, and you know the derma roller is good not only for scars, just for rejuvenating your skin. Of course, you can go on our website and get all the instructions that you need, how to use it, and also videos with demos that you can see. And of course, our last product in this line is the retinol cure, which is also amazing. You've tried it.
Of course I've tried it, but tell me exactly the benefits of retinol.
Okay, so retinol is a derivative of vitamin A. Okay, and you know retin A. This derivative is really effective, but it's not effective in any way that your skin can process it. This is why this retinol is special. It's encapsulated. It means that the active ingredient, the active retinol, is inside micro nano capsules that you cannot see with your eyes, but it melts into your skin while you put it on. And it's more effective.
So it's really an Evercure for anybody that needs it. Thank you so much for being with me. I'm sure so many people are going to be obsessed with these products. So thanks for sharing. And back to you, Aaron.
Moving on, Israel's Magen David Adom paramedics have now released guidelines on how to stay cool during this week's insane heat wave, a wave in which temperatures are meant to go from hot to scorching. In fact, families with children and the elderly are even advised to stay indoors altogether. In any case, joining me now with the rest of these MDA-certified tips, ILTV reporter Chana Rivlin. Chana, I'm so happy you're here. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Now, we know that it's supposed to get ridiculously hot this week. Why, or rather, we know that the heat can be dangerous, obviously.
Right.
What are the MDA's recommendations on how to get through?
Okay, so they gave us 5 tips. We made an acronym, DIPCAP, DPCAP.
I love it.
We're going to go over it right now. So the first one is drink cold water. Not coffee, not soda. Drink water, cold water.
Off to a bad start today. All right. Cool.
8 to 10 glasses a day. Drink even when you're not thirsty. Dehydration can hit you like that. You wouldn't even know it. The second one is protect yourself from the sun rays. Wear sunscreen, of course. Hats, wide-brimmed hats are recommended. Sunglasses and proper clothing.
Sure.
And Mata also recommends trips to the beach in the early morning and the late afternoon in the cooler hours.
Kind of avoid the most direct sunlight.
Exactly.
All right, that makes sense.
And
or use a parasol, like I do.
Sure.
All right, next.
So on to C of the DIPCAP, we have don't leave your children or infants in the car. Now, we've heard a lot of horror stories about this. We don't want it to happen to anyone else. So it's very crucial. Temperatures rise very quickly in a car. So, and that can lead to heat stroke or even death, which is very, very scary. So just remember to take your kids with you.
Get into the habit of checking the back seat no matter what. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
There's 2 more actually. The next one is to avoid the outside heat if you can. Exercise indoors, and if you exercise in the evening, drink lots of water and do a light workout. The last one is pay attention to signs of heat stroke and dehydration. If someone says they don't feel well, take them seriously, listen to your body, and be aware of others.
And drink, yeah, absolutely. So could you just briefly, what exactly are the signs to look out for when it comes to heat stroke?
Okay, so for heat stroke, we have fainting, blurry vision, confusion, and fever. If you feel any of these, or if you see someone else feeling any of these, you must call emergency personnel immediately. Mata's emergency call center is 101, so you can dial that. And they also have an app, so you can look that up as well.
All right, well, I'm glad that you came here to talk about this because it is very, very important. I myself have been caught in the heat. My wife's been caught in the heat. I mean, this is a really serious issue.
Right.
Thank you so much, Chana.
You're welcome.
DIPCAP, everybody.
DIPCAP. And now let's take a look at the weather forecast. As we discussed, Israel's heat wave is continuing into Wednesday with clear skies and lows tonight mostly in the 70s in Fahrenheit or 20s in Celsius. Very, very warm. Then tomorrow, highs in Israel's northern and southernmost areas will get into the 100s or range between 38 to 42 degrees Celsius, with the rest of the country in the upper 80s and 90s or 30s in Celsius. I don't know about you, Aaron. Kind of makes me want to jump into a freezing pool.
Yeah, no, I can't think of any other way to cool off better than that. And that is it for today's news. Today's exchange rate is 3.26 shekels to the American dollar and 2.63 shekels to the Canadian dollar. Finally, for the latest updates and the news from ILTV, please like ILTV on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, as well as to our newsletter at iltv.tv. I'm Aaron Porras. Be well. Thank you so much for watching.